On today's episode, we're going to give you the 4 phases of business that you must know if you want to be able to go from 0 to 20 plus million and everything in between. And make sure you stay to the end because we're going to be giving you the personal mistakes that we've made so you don't have to make them as well and you can reach success faster. All that plus more in today's episode.
What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of the Melanin Money Show, man. Feels good to be back in the studio. How you feeling, my brother?
I'm feeling good, man. We got a long weekend ahead of us.
Long weekend ahead of us. Yeah. So if you hear his voice scratchy, he knows he made a rookie mistake.
Mistake on the first night.
Went a little too hard last night.
Always.
But now today's gonna be a good one, man. Like we always try to unpack on these episodes. Not only giving you guys insights and gems in general, right, when it comes to entrepreneurship, wealth building, tax planning, but also just what we're actually experiencing in real time. Mm-hmm. So just coming from a genuine place, we can build out loud, as they say, right? Mm-hmm. So today we're going to talk about the 4 phases of entrepreneurship. And how that can impact your journey and your decision on where you decide to land. Because everybody might not want to make it to the 4th phase, right? You might not want to make it past the 2nd phase, right? Depending upon who you are. So I think this will be a good lens for people to look through to understand what that journey and trajectory could look like.
Yeah, because you want to see the roadmap to see like where on the roadmap you want to stop. Because you don't have to get all the way.
Let me get off on this exit
let me get off on exit 61 and just keep it going. Because I think about entrepreneurship, people just assume they have to go all the way. If you find a place of comfortability, you can just chill there, bro.
Right.
Like, you know what I'm saying? So I think this is going to be entrepreneur therapy for us.
Yeah.
And just talking through each phase that we've been through, and it's gonna be dope.
Yeah. So the first phase obviously is the start phase, right?
Broke boy.
Cue broke boys. And that could be like also known as the hustle phase, right?
Yeah.
Like wearing all the hats, being everything to everybody. I think I saw a meme the other day that this has been floating around for a while. It's like, if you see me talking to myself, mind your business, I'm having a staff meeting. I'm a solo entrepreneur, right? So that's the phase where it's like, yo, you're trying to figure it out. You don't know if it's gonna work. Yeah. And you're probably not making any profit. You're just trying to make it happen.
You're trying to see if this like business is gonna actually be a thing.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? It's like blissful optimism. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? Like, I got this idea. I want to start it. Okay, cool. I got my first sale. Like, yo, like, you remember that first sale? And like, you're excited, which is great because you're going to need that enthusiasm to keep pushing. But also, you're not making any real money. Right. And like, you're still trying to see if this thing going to work. You're probably loading up the credit cards to front load the business. And again, I think the goal of this phase is just to validate the idea. Validate the idea that this thing can work and validate the idea that I myself can stop trading my time to build somebody else's dream and start using that time to build my own dream. And it's an exciting phase. Like, do you remember
Yeah, I mean, I remember just like it was yesterday. Like you said, it is exciting. It's almost like when you see people that are entering, it's like, I remember when I like just hang out for a little while. You gonna see it gets dark, it gets scary. But I remember that phase. I mean, you just running and gunning. I remember at that time, this is like, social media is around, but I'm still going to networking events. I'm shaking hands. I'm meeting people.
Let's talk about that right quick,
passing out business cards.
Let's talk about that, like, because that's I feel like let's demystify the beauty of entrepreneurship.
Yes.
I remember vividly my first 6 months in business, and I'm talking, bro, 4 days a week.
Yeah. Outside.
Going to these networking events. Yep. 6 to 8. Don't feel like being there. And it's a free networking event, obviously, because it's the only thing you can afford.
Yep.
And it's all these vulture new entrepreneurs just trying to pass out.
What do you do?
Yeah, what you do? Here's my card. Give me a card. It's like all this hustle and bustle, man. Yeah. Hoping to get one client out of that. But reality, respectfully, everybody, most of the people at free networking events are at the free networking event for a reason. Everybody's a new business owner. Yep. They just started in somebody else's business, Primerica, whatever. Just trying to find. It was dark times, man. I did not want to do that.
Yeah, that was a interesting season, right? I was everywhere at all times, being everything to everybody. But it was necessary, right? I think what it does do is it builds up your resilience, right?
Yeah, there you go.
Like you get a lot of no's, you get a lot of your voicemail jails, as I call it. Like you call somebody, give me a call, and then once it goes to voicemail, you never hear from them again. I started on the insurance side, so you get a few chargebacks. Like it's just, it's a very interesting time. But if you make it through, right, then that way okay, cool. Like this is not going to be easy, but I at least know that I have what it takes to continue to persist and break through maybe that first 6 figures. I think if once you make your first 6 figures in business, is validated, right? Like, now, I mean, granted, there could be fluke like COVID, right? There was some flukes in COVID, right?
Yeah.
COVID money was different.
Pandemicpreneurs.
That was a different season, but by and large, like in a regular market, if you can break past your first $100,000, I think at that point it's like, you got something there. And that's still the first stop, but like, that you got something.
Yeah. And I think that like, that's actually a triumph though. Like making your first 100,000, like, cause that 100,000 is different than your job 100,000. Your job 100,000, you getting taxed. So you really probably taking home 3-4K a month.
Right.
That business 100,000, that $8,000 a month, roughly give or take. That's going to your pocket.
Yeah.
So
for the most part. Yeah.
You seeing that hit your account, you're like, we
need that.
You need that. So yeah, man, it was a roller coaster time because, like you said, it was that trenches phase, and then some of those leads that you've been following up with start converting,
randomly come back.
Randomly coming back. You start to like creep up on your prices a little bit, like to see how much people will pay you for your services, and like that for me was a really happy moment because I'm like going to conferences. I'm like, this business is validated. And here's the thing that I learned. When I hit my first 6 figures, I said, I'm never working a job again. Like that was the, like, I was like, I now am never working a job again. If I can help it.
No, for sure. So that's the start phase, right? So if you're in the start phase, keep going. Right. Unless you know early, like, nah, I ain't built for this. Right. But if you're
Get me
there,
up out of here, man.
But yeah, if you're in it, and you feel like you can keep going, know that it does get brighter on the other. It doesn't get easier, right? You get better. But that is where it all starts and determines if you can keep it going in entrepreneurship.
Yes, sir.
The next phase is the growth phase. This is a fun phase, right? Because at this point you have a somewhat validated idea or business at this point, and now you're starting to make your stride, but what happens is unique is that you start to make a lot of money or a lot more money, but you don't necessarily need but so much more infrastructure to make the money. So a lot more of that money is going in your pocket because you're not at the phase where I got to hire 20 employees, right? Yeah. So like you start to make multi 6 figures, might even scratch the surface of like low 7.
Yeah, you definitely. Yeah. I feel like we're talking 100,000 to about
like
2 million.
2 million. Yeah. 2 million. You're like, like I'm outside. Most of this money, I'm depending upon your business, especially as like
60 to 70%
a coaching
margins.
or a service provider. Like, you're looking at 60+% margins, right? It's a very, very. You have some flashbacks.
Yeah, I have some flashbacks, man. Oh man, I mean, like I feel like story time. I remember hitting like my first million. And I hit my first $1 million in revenue in the business that I had previous that was coming together. And bro, I remember, and I looked at my profit margin, bro. I was at 63%. And like, I hit my first $1 million on my birthday. So it was like my 30th birthday. It was in July. So like we literally crossed $1 million 7 months into the year. And I'm looking at it. I'm at 65% margin. So that means $650,000 is coming to my pocket.
Yeah.
I am, when I say outside, bro, like that was the first time I just like stopped caring about a dollar. Like, like the numbers no longer matter to me. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like drinks, I don't like going out. Like it was such a I'm talking about like elated. I can't even put it into words because you making the money and you don't really. I had like 2-3 employees, bro. Right. Paying them, throwing out bonuses, like random bonuses. Here go 2,000. Check your account. You don't worry about it. I got you. I got you.
Yeah.
And man, it was a really really fun phase. And for me, it just like I felt like I made it in life.
Yeah. It's almost like I call it the happy camper phase, right? It's because it's like, shoot, like I could grow this thing bigger, but based upon pause, by the way, Jesus Christ. hey, yo, yikes.
Chill, son.
I could expand this business, bigger, but I feel really good where I'm at, right? Like I could just really I'm good. You know what I'm saying? Like I don't have to do anything. If this is where I stayed, nobody will argue that I was a successful entrepreneur. Right, including myself. Yeah. Right, and so it's a very interesting phase. But And this is where I think a lot of people like have to have a conversation with themselves, like an identity conversation, like what do I want to build? Because this is what I would call a lifestyle business, right? Like you grow the business at a rate relative to the lifestyle you want to live.
Just doing what you want.
Yeah, it's like
I don't work on Tuesdays. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like,
it's all centered around you, right? And that's cool. Like I think that's when people first start entrepreneurship. That's the dream. It's like what did you hear about? I get to work for myself, set my own hours,
traveling
do
the
my
world,
own thing,
doing whatever you want to do.
Yeah.
And I think to your point, I think the biggest thing I want the audience to know when they get to this phase is it's okay to stay here.
It's okay to stay here.
It's okay to stay here,
right?
Because you can literally like $1 million plus. 60% margin, 700,000 coming to your bottom line. You're fine.
Fine.
Like you can buy whatever you want, right. Essentially, within reason. And it's okay to stay here because now you can travel the world. You can live in different countries. You can the business, all the meetings. You can be living in Thailand and say, "Hey, we're meeting at 8 a.m. only. That's 8 p.m. for me." You can literally do whatever you want. And I think the message I want to give across is if you want to stay here. Stay there.
Like it's okay.
It's okay.
Yeah, I don't want you to get tricked out of your spot, right? And think that everybody tells you to scale, like build the biggest thing, and that's not what you want, right? You have to have business and lifestyle alignment at the end of the day, right? And you just have to know yourself, right? Like, and once you know that, once you have that conversation with yourself, what you need to have, then you can determine like, okay, well, how do I want to grow this thing? Because what you don't want to do is have to reverse if you can help it. Like if you have to, like I think I sent you this tweet the other day that I tweeted, but I was just like, I'd rather acknowledge that I opened the wrong door than stay in the wrong room forever. So if you do end up venturing past this because somebody told you have to build a $10 million business and you realize like, this isn't for me, you could go back, right? But we're trying to prevent you from going back by self-evaluating on the front end. What type of business do I want to build? What type of life do I want to build? Can this business coexist with the lifestyle that I have, especially if you're a parent or you got a significant other, like you got to really think about those things, right? Because the next phase, it's a different, it's a whole different beast.
It is funny because we did an interview with Maya on the show a few months ago, and I remember her vividly stating, like, I'm good here. Like, I'm making my couple million. I like have a few employees. I don't want to do anything else. I'm good. And I remember like thinking to myself, like, why would you limit yourself like that, right? And then this is because I was blissfully ignorant. Yeah. Like, you know what I'm saying? I was like, well, why would you like, you sure? Like, why would you want to make 2 to 10 million? Like, and then I didn't realize the amount of work that it takes going from 2 to 10.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And the amount of staff, and then which we're going to talk about in a second. So like, guys, trust us on this. If you want to stay in this growth phase and ride it out and live your best life and travel the world and have your business and have your few employees that kind of, run it without you, build your business on your own brand, that's okay, bro.
Yeah.
That's okay. Make your money, have your fun, ride that out, invest 50% of your money into the market.
Now that's the key, because what can happen in any business is the market can shift. And if you are at a place where you're not growing and you're kind of like, I'm trying to maintain, like there's kind of a myth of maintenance, right? So it's like, you got to know that at some point that lifestyle business is not necessarily going to go, like it's not going to stay how it is. So for example, take you for example, right? Like when you were in that phase and you loved it, where would you be right now if you had that exact same business?
It would be declining. I would still have a good lifestyle business, but it would be declining. I would have to pivot because it's just where the industry is right now. Right.
But the only thing that would have saved you is the fact that you practice what you preach and you are investing a good percentage of your money,
Absolutely,
right?
Yeah.
So that's why that's a key ingredient in that kind of like maintenance or like growth where I'm just kind of maintaining phase, because your business, just like any other business, is going to have market conditions that impact it. And when you have to reimagine what that looks like, you got to have capital reserves. You can't be living to the maximum of that lifestyle and the lifestyle business thinking it's going to stay there, because in the next phase we're going to talk about, like, we're always looking around the corner. So like it's almost impossible. I won't say impossible, but it's very hard to be knocked off your pivot because you understand that I'm trying to climb it at the highest level. Yeah. Right. Versus if you're not in that bucket, you're thinking like shit is sweet. Yeah. Right. And then you get blindsided. It's like, oh shit. Yeah. Like I gotta still be awake. I can't fall asleep at the wheel just because I'm in this maintenance phase of a business.
Yeah. So when you're in the growth phase, it's like I think like you should be investing 50% of your profits outside the business, because the goal is not to grow the business like that. Right. So like you don't have to reinvest that much money into the business. So now if you like taking home 700,000, $300,000 needs to be invested into the market or real estate or something so that the business is not your only asset.
Yeah.
And like, thankfully I was doing that back then, because now I'm looking at my investment portfolio like, oh, like how I was reviewing my portfolio the other week, and I was like, how did I grow it so fast? And now I was like looking at how much I was contributing every month. And I was like, oh, because I had so much free cash flow, and I didn't want to scale the business like out of control. So I was just investing outside the business, and you can literally reach financial freedom in like 5 years.
Oh yeah, for sure.
If you do, you don't have to do anything else anymore. You could take 300,000 and put that in your account per year.
Yeah.
In 5 years, you have 1.45 million invested. That will grow. You'll be fine.
But I think there's something key that you said there that I want people to make sure they pick up, right? So it's like, if you're not planning to go to the scale phase, right? There's no need to disproportionately invest in that asset, because the business is an asset, right? You are the asset, right? Your personal wealth is the asset, and so you got to disproportionately prioritize how that money is allocated. I think that's the piece that people miss, even when trying to transition to the scale phase. It's like, all right, well, did you do the growth phase right? Right? Because that's what's going to give you the peace of mind to reinvest into the business. Right? Because it can get scary when it's like, oh shoot, I'm reinvesting so much into the business at this point. What if it doesn't go out according to plan? Oh wait, it's okay for me to be like not as aggressive on my personal side because I did what I was supposed to do in that season. So if you are somebody who wants to enter this next phase that we're going to talk about, make sure that before you do, you're being very intentional with that free cash flow so that you can have the peace of mind. Because remember, you literally said it. Like when we were like at that point where it's like, all right, I'm comfortable now. I'm okay. Yeah. What we got to do in the business now, because I reinvested the money personally, right? But you have to do that if you want peace of mind. If you don't want peace of mind, you want to be stressed the hell out, then don't do it. Yeah. But if you want peace of mind, you have to do it. And I think that's where so many entrepreneurs go wrong. They just fly through these phases like, okay, now I'm making this money. Let's keep growing the business. Let's keep growing the business. And they never prioritize themselves. Shameless plug. That's why we exist. Yeah. Right? It's because everybody has figured out how to make the money. The coaches, the consultants, the service providers, they got the money making part figured out. They might already be in the scale phase from a revenue perspective, but they have not prioritized tucking that money away to give them that peace of mind, which gives you more clarity as an entrepreneur because you're not stressing on the back end, worried about the money. Yeah. I would even tell people like make $1 million should be your first goal, right? And then invest $1 million should be your second goal. I mean, invest $1 million outside your business. So like, all right, you made your $1 million in your growth phase. All right, the second year of your growth phase, your goal is to invest $1 million. Right. So you made two, you invested one. You invested one, cool. And then like I would even recommend you do that before you like go to the next phase we're talking about. Because when you have $1 million invested in your portfolio, like it just feels good. The peace of mind you get to start reinvesting heavy into the business, which is going to be required to go to the next phase. I think that like that will give you the peace of mind to do it. So with that being said, the fun phase, it feels feeling a lot like the start phase, right? Our hands are real dirty right now. Yeah, man. But Jesus Christ. Let's talk about the scale phase, right? The scale phase is when you've looked yourself in the mirror and you say, you know what, I want to build something bigger than me. I want to build something that can outlive me, and I honestly want to build something that maybe could even run without me at some point, right? And that's the scale phase, right? It's going to look a lot different than the previous two phases. One of the biggest differences is your payroll, right? Like you have to invest in personnel if you want to scale. Ooh, that's a bar. Yeah. You got to invest in personnel if you want to scale. Like AI is cool, for sure, but you got to have great people to navigate the AI. Yeah. But what I will say as a caveat, I know we'll get into this, you still have to be careful about throwing money at a problem and not paying attention to the cash flow in the name of I'm investing in my business. Because it can almost feel a little guilt-free because you know you're not tricking it off on yourself. It's like, well, I'm reinvesting into the business. Okay, cool. But you still got to be smart. Yeah. You still got to evaluate, right? It's the reason why companies the size of Facebook and had to lay off 10,000 people is because they thought everything was perfect. They just hire 4 people for the same job and then looked at their balance sheet and like, this is stupid. Yeah. Right. And then they start having to peel back. So what we're trying to do to the best of our ability, and I think it's unavoidable, is that we're trying to be more mindful of the money that we allocate towards resources, staff, et cetera. It might be making some revisions in that regard, but being so mindful on the front end now that we're over scrutinizing new money that we spend, right? But at the end of the day, it's unavoidable. You do have to spend a lot more money in the business to get it to where you want it to be. Yeah, you going that's what I want y'all to have a real long gander in the mirror at yourself before you decide to go in this phase, because you're gonna have to reinvest 60 to 70%
of the money your business makes back into the business to sustain the scale phase, to go from 2 million to 20 million. Like, you're going to be looking at investing 60 to 70% of the money back into the business, which is fine, because if you're making $5 million and you're, let's say you're making $2 million in the growth phase, and you keep it 50% of that, you keep it $1 million. But if you in the scale phase and you're making $10 million, but you're reinvesting 70% back into the business, you're still taking $3 million. So you're still coming home with more money.
Right.
But
it just feels
like you're spending so much money back into the business, but that is the only way to grow it.
Yeah.
And you have to invest in team, you have to invest in system, you have to invest in HR.
Yep.
You got, like, this is like,
you're building an enterprise.
Yeah,
at this point, right?
It's like why didn't somebody warn me about this? Like,
you know in the beginning of the year, we hired a company culture consultant, right, who really helped us dial in our core values, right? We're entrepreneurs. We're just, black dudes that grew up and decided they wanted to start something, right?
Yeah.
And we're now talking about core values and company culture. And if you go to our website, like, all this stuff is real. Like, we invested in this.
Which
stuff.
I hated. Like, when I worked at other companies, like, this is such a waste of time.
Yeah.
Why are we doing company culture? Why are we having the HR? What are we doing? Right. And then it's like, now I'm doing it in my business.
Yeah, because what you don't realize, if you ever go to like a restaurant or go to any business, like, it's like it has a vibe here. It's like a certain type. How did they attract or find all the same type of people?
Like, we go to Soho House.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Company culture, right? Like, or somebody could be performing at their job really well, but you just can't put your finger on it, or like, why it doesn't make sense. They're not a culture fit, right? Right. And those are the things that you lean back on. But we had to invest in that, right? Invest in HR, invest in a bunch of team members in order to build this machine. It's the reason why growth companies like Amazon don't pay dividends, right? It's because they're reinvesting all the money back into the business. So if you want to build, now we're not trying to build a company the size of Amazon, but when you're trying to build something, that's why they don't pay dividends, because all the money is going back into reinvesting and growing and scaling the business. But when you're in the middle of it, it's tough, right? Yeah. Because it's new for you. Like, you're spending more money on this business, than you spending on yourself.
Oh, facts.
Way more.
It is crazy because everybody from the outside looking in, like, hey man, you got it, Jack. Let me hold something. He's
like, my business got it.
It's like, yo, like the money is coming to the business, but if you're talking about me.
Right. Like, it was funny the other day. We were going through, speaking of scrutinizing transactions, we were going back and kind of reconciling some transactions, because for those of y'all who don't know, when it comes to accounting, you have record keeping, right? You have the record portion of it in the books, right? The books is your P&L, your profit and loss statement. But the record keeping is actually making sure you have the receipts and filed away or whatnot, right? So we were joking before we went through. It was like, now better not see no exotic car rentals on the business card. We like, literally, because that's not what we do. Yeah. But then we have a golf tournament that we're sponsoring in Miami next week, and we actually did have to rent like a boat or whatever. Yeah. So we go through the transactions, and literally, I lie to you not, it said exotic car rental. It was one of my transactions.
$3,000 exotic car rental on Georgia's MS card.
I was like, hold on, bro.
In Miami, like, what you got going on, Jack? Like, June 9th, where were we at June 9th, bro?
So I literally had to go back and figure it out, because not that he was pressing me about it, but just like for myself, I was like, wait, what's going on? Because I didn't get the benefit from it. I want to figure out who swiped my card and got this car, right? But that's just funny. So like, I said that to say, like, in this phase, y'all, you gotta become a different animal. Like, you're the real evolution is you as a leader, because in the growth phase, like, you're telling people what to do. It's like, you have a couple of employees, like, hey, I need you to do this. You're just delegating, you get stuff off your plate. You're the breadwinner. You're the main person. You're just having people help out with a few minor things. In this phase, we have an org chart, right? We have people that report to us, and they have people that report to them, and there's way more people that report to them than report to us, right? And so we're having to reimagine what it looks like to be a leader. But when you own the business and people are telling you, like, we can't do this because they care about the business almost as much as you do, and they have the foresight to understand what you should and should not do. It's all, I mean, when I say holistically, beyond just the money, this is a phase that's going to stretch.
Put your big boy pants on.
Put your big boy pants on.
If you say you want to do something, I look at the camera like, look yourself in the mirror before you decide you want to enter this phase of business, because it's not, I always say it's not fun. Right. It's just it's no longer all fun and games. That's what I'll say. Because now, like I feel guilty if I miss a meeting because I'm traveling. I want to go to Spain for the weekend, and I miss the Monday meetings. I know so many people are depending, and so many people are looking up to you as a leader. Like, damn, if he gonna miss the meeting, like, and people are looking, when you hire now, people are looking at this company to sustain their lifestyle for the foreseeable future.
Yeah, people. Yeah, exactly. Like they're betting their livelihood on you, right? And that's what forces me to get up every morning because it's like, yo, like people's have left Fortune 500 companies to work for us, right? People, a good bit of our employees are older than us.
Yeah.
Right. They have more. I only have one child. They have children. Yeah. Right. So it's like, it's a different level of responsibility. It's a different ball game. And there's the reason why, yes, you want to scale, but still do it sustainably. Cause only time I want to let somebody go is because they're not performing. Yeah. I don't want to have to look somebody in the face and be like, dang, like
you doing your job. Everything's working.
It's like, I can't afford you.
The business can't afford you no more.
Right.
Which is why, like, again, it's not, I say it's not all fun and games. You can't be tricking off. Like you can't be like going and like that's how I know, like when I see like new entrepreneur money and I see like them just tricking off at the Louis and Gucci stores and like
the cars so quickly.
I'm like you ain't okay. I know what phase you in. You ain't reinvest. You ain't trying to scale.
You ain't trying to scale, and you might not make it. You might not make it at all. Doing this. Yeah, because that's the thing, bro. Like you have to be very careful at what like looking at what you see online and thinking like how successful that person is. Like if me and Carter did half of what we could do personally in terms of like how like spending on ourselves, like it would be a foolish.
But like this, we spent $400,000 last month on an event. That we could have took that $400,000 and went shopping. We could have took that $400,000 and went to
buy watches, did whatever we want,
and went on the mega yacht. Right, we could have bought APs.
Right,
like the money is being spent.
Right,
it's just how we decided to spend it.
And what gives you the peace of mind in the scale phase is that you are reinvesting into an asset that you are building into something that could be sellable, right? If you decide to sell it, or at the very least can put you in what we're going to talk about in a second. Yeah. Put you in a position to where now it's like, I own the business, I don't run the business, right? And that's why you have to reinvest, because like there's this myth, and Dan Martell is one of my mentors talked about it. He said, people have this myth that if they grow a big business, they're gonna be trapped by it. Like, no, that's if you stop building it. Like, the more you build the business, the more you build the people, the bigger it is, the easier it gets. It's easier to run a $20, $30 million business than it is a $1 to $2 million business. Yep. If you do it the right way. And that's the limiting belief that people have to get past, because it's like, oh, wait, I've actually built the business. Mm-hmm. People walk into Charles Schwab, but they never talk to Charles. Yeah. Right? It's like, I built.
Charles ain't in that joint.
Charles not nowhere to be found.
He ain't got an office. He ain't coming in an office.
But the clients are still coming, right? Because he had the foresight to build something bigger than him. And that's the thing you have to look past. It's like when you're in the trenches again, because that's what it's gonna feel like. It's like, I'm building something that at some point in the near future, right, it's gonna run without me. The profits are gonna be great, and I just own this asset, and I earned the right to be in that position. Because everybody will look at the CEO or the owner of the business like, oh my gosh, they make so much money. Do you know what I went through to get to this position? Yeah. How much responsibility? Like, if we have ebbs and flows in our revenue, our clients' paychecks don't have ebbs and flows. They still get paid. Yeah. Right. So it's like, but we as entrepreneurs got to take that on the chin and continued. I've never missed the payroll, even if employees don't do what they're supposed to do, which is crazy, right? It's like, should I like pay you less because you didn't do what you're supposed to do? Like, we always have to show up and do what we got to do. And we're just, at the end of the day, we're just human beings too, who decided they want to build something big. Yeah. Right. And I just think you have to give yourself grace in that, but also understand the beast. Yeah. That has to come out of you in this phase if you want to get it over the hump. Yeah. Now, the reason that this phase is worth going through is for the next phase that we're going to talk about, which is the exit phase. It's something that you helped me realize because, you know, for me, kid from Southside Chicago, I'm like, let me tell you something. Okay. I'll make $3, $4, $5 million. I'm good. Like that's Gucci. All, I don't need anything else, right? Like give me a business that generates $3 to $5 million, bro, every single year. I am beyond straight. Yeah. And then you're like, well, like, that's cool, but like, what about exiting for $100 million? Right. What about exiting a business for $200 million? Like, how's that sound? I'm like, well, that sounds a little bit different than what I was talking about. You know what I'm saying? And it took me probably to maybe like late last year, where I was like, you know what? Like, I've bought most of the things that I need, and I've experienced most of the things that I need to experience. Like, and Alex Hormozi said this, like, once you like make over $3 or something million, like, there's nothing you can't experience. Right. There's things you can't buy. Right. But there's nothing you can't experience. You can rent the yacht, you can rent the Lamborghini, you can do whatever you want, and like nothing really. You can fly private when you know on occasions, but like nothing really changes between like that $3 to
6 million. You know what I'm saying? Like if you want to hit that next, it's gonna be 10 million plus. Yeah. It's gonna be like 50 million plus. So it was like, all right, well I could keep this 3 million plus lifestyle or whatever, or I can reinvest it all because I already experienced the stuff. Yeah. It's already flew private. I already got the Lamborghini. I did that already. Right. What's life gonna look like when I got 100 million? Right. Yep. And that is something we're striving for, at least for me, versus staying stagnant in that $3 million phase, because people are exiting business for $100+ million.
Yeah, and we're no different, right? And so I think the beautiful part that I love about the phase that for us, and when we entered that phase, as we're like building now to be prepared for that phase, is that a lot of people who end up making to this phase, they go to Silicon Valley with a pitch deck and an unvalidated idea, right? We've never taken outside money from anybody, and we're by the time we're ready to like really entertain the exit phase, like we would already be a multi 8-figure business, right? So there's so much validation, so much proof of concept. And at that point, like it's going to be honestly probably one of the easiest things that we do is just a matter of making sure the deal makes sense, right? At that point. So what you want to be thinking about as you evolve into the exit phase is the number one thing that comes to mind is enterprise value, right? You want to create an asset that people can easily see like, oh, there's value here, right? Like I understand if Carter and George are not here, this thing is still valuable, because one quote that we live by is if you're valuable to your business is not valuable. Yes, it's cute. It sounds good. Like this thing can't run without me. But at the end of the day, if it can't, that's bad news from an exit standpoint, not bad news from a lifestyle business standpoint, which is 2 phases ago. But now that you want to be able to transition away from this thing, you got to build enterprise value. You have to build world-class leaders that can run your company so that you don't have to. You want to build technology. You want to build recurring revenue. You want to build strategic partnerships. You want to acquire things that cost you a lot of money so that it maximizes on your profit potential, because now it's like, okay, I want to make my biggest expenses my profit centers. We spend over $1 million on events a year. Maybe we should have equity stake in an event planning business, right? All of our clients get referred to a tax planning into a firm. We should probably own that business, right? So that's when you start thinking about those types of decisions, because right now in the scale phase, there might be partnerships or referrals. But it's like, I'm sending a lot of money out the door.
Let me get some of that scratch, Jack.
Yeah, so it needs to be beyond a kickback and beyond the, like, you can go to somebody and say, hey, look, beyond our core front end offer, we have equity stake in this business, this business, this business, and that builds your economic moat, which gives investors really a lot of confidence. Like, yo, y'all got something. I can see why you want $100 million for this.
If somebody offered us $10 million for 10%, would you?
$10 million for yeah, for sure.
Yeah, $100 million valuation.
Truth be told, that's all. Maybe offline conversation. We're already at that point. Like, there's people right now that's been knocking on our. I just told them like, wait, we got a couple milestones we want to hit. Yeah. But yeah, like 100%, I would give away 10%.
Yeah, I'll do 10% for $10 million. Anybody?
Any takers?
Yeah. Listen, you know what I'm saying? $10 million for 10%, we can work that out. But get in while it's early.
Hey, listen. It's only. Matter of fact, Peter. I was watching a clip from Peter Thiel the other day when he was talking about how entrepreneurs should be pitching their business. He's like, you shouldn't pitch it based upon like, hey, like this is what we did the last round. Like this is a discount on where we're going, right? Like that should be the angles. Like the reason why you want to get in now, because this is a discount on where we will be. Don't talk about, well, I just closed the round for 10 million. It's like, no, that doesn't matter. Like that's in the past. If you get in now, you're getting a discount on what's next. It will never be the sheep again. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? So
y'all heard it here first.
You heard it here first. Melanin Money, ticker symbol. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? But yeah, I mean, it just really requires you to expand your thinking, because it's like when you get into this, it's like your first initial goal is I want to make 6 figures. I had a job. Maybe you had a job, you made 6 figures. Like, damn, I created a business that can pay me 6 figures. Then you look up a couple years later, it's like, oh shit, I got to payroll this 6 figures, not annually.
A month.
It's like, how did I get here? How did I get from me being content with creating an entity that can pay me personally 6 figures, and now being responsible for on a monthly basis paying out 6 figures in payroll, right? So it's I'm telling you, it's a different ball game. But if it's a game that you want to enter, I guarantee that it's fulfilling, it's worthwhile when you see the output, and then other people around you will see. Like we just experienced it last night when we was out. Like you can't read the label from inside the bottle, and it feels like heavy at times. But trust and believe, like other people can see those efforts, and time will promote or expose you. And so just put in the time. I'm
glad you got the quote right.
Huh?
I'm glad you got the quote.
It's my quote, so I won't butcher it. Time will. Yo. Oh my God. Yo, like if anybody ever got a friend that like to steal your quotes and then they don't, and then
reach of the week
and don't get it right. Yeah, reach of the week. If you're gonna use somebody else's gym,
dude, don't butcher the gym.
Don't butcher the gym. Oh my gosh. Time will. It's so bad I can't even think of what it is.
Time will promote you or carry you away in the ocean. Some shit like that. I said, bro, hey, Jack. You gotta get it right, bro.
Crazy.
You gotta get it right.
But anyways, y'all, thanks for tuning in to this episode. I hope that this has been helpful for you, regardless of where you are on your journey. And maybe it can be refreshing to know that I don't have to reach what everybody is considering the pinnacle of success. Maybe for me, the growth phase is where I want to stay. And I want to make sure I'm reinvesting my money so that I can do what all of this is for, which is financial freedom.
And with that being said, that was another episode of the Mill and the Money Show. See y'all next time.
Peace.